When I reviewed Redmi's 14C last year, I said it wasn't very different from the 13C. This year, with the 15C, I'm tempted to say the same thing. But I won't, because this phone brings two very noticeable changes. Before we talk about the changes, let's take a look and see what we get in this phone's box. Redmi included a charging adapter, a USB-A to USB-C cable, a SIM ejector tool, a protective TPU case, some paperwork, and the 15C in this phone's box. So just like the 14C, Redmi gives us everything, all the accessories, except wired earphones. The headphone jack, though, is still here. So you can use wired earphones with this phone. You just have to buy the wired earphones separately. Technically, this phone's design is a noticeable change, but it's not one of the noticeable changes I referred to in the intro. Anyway, Redmi did change the design. They went from a circular camera module to a Note 12-like squarish camera module. I saw some people saying that they prefer the old design to this phone's new design, and I think I agree. Like, no, I'm not saying that this design is ugly. I don't think it is. I think it looks good. I just prefer the old one. One thing I did really like, though, is the Redmi 15C text they added to the bottom right of the phone, and also all the new colors. They all slap. Ports and buttons are all in their usual positions. I already showed you the headphone jack that's at the bottom of the phone. Next to it is a mic, a USB-C port, and a downward firing speaker. The only speaker on this phone. It's kind of loud, but just sounds a bit teeny. The power and volume buttons are on the right side, and then on the left, there's the dual SIM and SD card tray. The power button doubles as a fingerprint sensor, in case you were wondering. And yeah, unlike other slightly more expensive Redmi phones, we do not get an IR blaster on this phone. We didn't get it on the 14C, and we do not get it here as well. What we do get is an IP rating. This phone is IP64 rated, which is kind of impressive for a budget phone. I don't think the 14C had an IP64 rating, so I guess we can say that this is another change they made. One change I was hoping they would make, though, is this notch. I was hoping that they would finally upgrade to a hole punch cutout. But nope, I guess it's not time yet. Just like the 14C, we get a V-shaped notch on the 15C. This phone's display is also just like the 14C. It's 720p, it's an LCD display, and it refreshes at 120 Hz. It's a fine display. It's basically what you get at this price point. It's good enough for YouTube, it's good enough for Netflix. As long as you're not pixel peeping or comparing it to anything more expensive, it's fine. One thing I'll add, though, is that this display is slightly larger than the 14C. That was 6.88 inches, and this is 6.9. You might not notice that, but yeah, it's bigger. I mentioned earlier that this phone refreshes at 120 Hz. Now, while that's true, just like the 14C, most apps wouldn't refresh at 120 Hz. They would mostly refresh at 90 Hz, which is still very fine. Just like how we really didn't get any upgrades with this phone's display, we also don't get any upgrades with this phone's performance. This phone uses the exact same chipset as its predecessor, the Helio G81 Ultra. In my 14C review, I said that that phone's performance was fine. It was able to handle all my basic phone needs, social media, watching videos, texting, little bit of gaming. It handled all of that. But I also said it wasn't perfect. It lagged sometimes. It took a bit of time to open apps for the first time, or when multitasking. I basically said that it acted how you would expect a budget phone to act. This phone is exactly like that. It's fine. It performs just like how you'd expect a budget phone to perform. Now, while I'm saying that, I would also like to mention that the Galaxy A07, which was just released, has a better chipset. So even though I'm saying like the performance on this phone is fine, it's also not the best you could get for the price. So if performance is super important to you, you might want to look at something like the A07 instead. Okay, now let's talk about cameras. The main camera of the Redmi 15C is the same as that of the Redmi 14C. The selfie camera, on the other hand, is different. In fact, it's worse. It's now 8 megapixels. I took some photos with that 8 megapixel selfie camera and I wasn't impressed. It's fine for a budget phone, I guess, but I believe I've seen better from the competition. The main camera, on the other hand, is much better. I think it's on par with other phones I've tested at this price range. When given sufficient light, the 15C produces pretty good images. From color to sharpness to HDR, this camera does quite well. It's not great all the time, but yeah, with the right lighting conditions, you can get some really nice photos from this camera. Video quality on this phone though isn't great. There is no stabilization, and it has this over-sharpened look. But because it's a budget phone, these issues can really be excused. Selfie video could be better though. I feel like I've seen better from the competition, but that's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments though. For software, the 15C is running on Android 15 based on HyperOS 2. This phone software still feels very similar to the 14C. This still occasionally shows you ads. It still doesn't have second space. It comes with a ton of bloatware. And in terms of looks, design, features, this is still your typical budget Redmi phone experience. The only thing that's somewhat different is that now, with this phone, Gemini is the default voice assistant. Other than that, really, and maybe some new wallpapers, this phone's software experience is basically the same as the 14Cs. Okay, now let's talk about the two very noticeable changes Redmi made with this phone. The first is battery size. Redmi upgraded from a 5160 mAh battery to a 6000 mAh battery. That to me is a huge upgrade, a very noticeable one. This phone would easily last a whole day, and then some, with light to medium use. So that's the first change. The second has to do with charging. The Redmi 15C supports 33 watt wired fast charging. That's an upgrade from the 18 watts the 14C supported. So instead of this phone taking 2 hours to fully charge, it now takes 1 hour and 15 minutes, but you have to use the speed up charging mode. I really think that these two changes are big changes, and anyone who uses this phone would notice these upgrades. I don't think the Redmi 15C has the best cameras or the best performance. I also don't think it's the overall best phone for 150K, but if you have a budget of 150K and you're looking for the phone with the best battery experience, then yeah, I think this is the phone you'd pick. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Redmi 15C. Let me know what you guys think as well down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you when you see me.